fishing, it's in my soul.
Welcome to the Salt Strong Podcast, disrupting fishing entertainment as you know it. Prepare to laugh. Prepare to get to know fishing legends in a whole new and unfiltered way. And on occasion, you might even learn a thing or two about fishing. Here's your host, Joe Simons. Like diamonds.
My last unchurched podcast for the next 40 days. Hey everybody, Joe Simons, Like Diamonds, back again here with the last podcast for a little bit of time. And here's the good news. Nothing is wrong with me. I'm not burnt out. I'm not dying. There is nothing on the health side that is wrong. This really comes down to putting recovery and putting a little bit of rest and a little bit of focus on the business and not in the business is a priority for me and my family and really our company. The book, I've chatted about this a couple times in the last, probably the last 5 or 6 podcasts. And this book is called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And I'm just going to read one quote there. And it says, it's urging leaders and in particular CEOs and founders to take a little bit of a break. It's just amazing to recharge, to just go out there and read and focus on the future, the vision of the company. And even if it's your family and your future, just focusing on the future and the vision versus just always in the weeds and working in the business. And so here's the quote. You never know how good your team is until you go away, but also they'll never know how good they are if you're constantly managing them. So I'm going to repeat that. And this is really for entrepreneurs in particular and leaders of companies. You never know how good your team is until you go away. But also they'll never know how good they are if you're constantly managing them. So they can't ever know how good they can possibly be if someone's always there and telling them what to do and always there for feedback. So I am literally leaving Salt Strong for an entire month. And it's actually a little bit more than a month with the holidays in there, and the team is not allowed to contact me, and so I'm not going to be looking at emails. I'm going to be completely off in terms of the company and the day-to-day operations of everything that we're doing. And as I said, this really comes down to just a focus on recovery, a focus on a lot of reading. And, Bill Gates was famous for this, where he'd take a week or 2 off every single year where no one could get a hold of him. He'd just go up in the mountain somewhere and he would just read for like 10 hours straight every day and just try to come up with a couple big ideas from these different books that he would come back and implement there at Microsoft at the time. And I'll be honest, I've struggled with this big time. This is year 8.5 now of Salt Strong. And I don't know that I've ever taken a full week off I don't know that I've taken 4 or 5 days off where I'm truly not looking at emails and not constantly, interacting with team members. And at some point that's not healthy. I mean, you truly can't be your best. You can't operate your best if you're always in and you're always on. Recovery is just absolutely critical for being fresh. I mean, recovery is crucial for operating at your best. And even people like LeBron James, and that's something that he is known for. And I believe he's set like a record. He's played over, it's 50-something thousand minutes. If you think about that, that's a ton of court time at a really high level. There's nothing. LeBron's never just taken it easy out there. Over 50,000 minutes. Most hit a wall and are just done if they even hit 40, if they're lucky to hit 40,000. So he's got an extra 10,000 minutes over most all other NBA players, and he's still operating at a really, really high level. And he credits that to his trainer. And the trainer basically says, recovery is the first thing we talk about. We actually start planning the recovery before anything else. And most of us, including yours truly, I plan recovery and vacation kind of like, hey, hoping there's something left, right? If there's anything left for me to give, or if I got everything done, then and only then I'll take some time off. And this book really pushes hard to do the opposite. essentially to map out your vacation days and your free days before anything else. And I have never done that. I've never done it in my entire life. But the more I read about it, and the more it obviously makes sense. And it's not like a lot of people think, oh, that's just lazy. I think that's how we're wired as Americans. But, reading this book, I mean, there's some really highly successful people like LeBron James and Bill Gates and a lot of the entrepreneurs that they mentioned here in this book that do just that they carve out kind of this free time just to recharge. And as I said, the good news is I'm not burnt out. I'm actually really having a ton of fun. But the one thing that's really, really important to me that I've had so many different dreams about, but honestly haven't had the time to really focus on, is this fishing theme park, this family-focused, fishing theme park. I got a ton of ideas. I have a massive Google Doc of just all the ideas that have come in my mind and that I've just written down. But I've never really had time to sit back and just start mapping out everything and really tying it all in together. And I'm sitting here, kind of looking at the calendar, looking at the clock, if you will. And, by the end of 2025 is really the goal, to acquire at least the land to start this whole process. That's a year and a half away. Before we hit 2025, it's going to be here pretty quick. So I was like, this is just a perfect time to do it. It's the summertime. I also get to spend time with my family, which is obviously very important. I've never really done many vacations. One, just been busy, and it's always tough when you got 3 kids. If any of you guys know, and you got 3 young kids, it's always tougher to find someone who's willing to take 3 young kids for a long period of time. So the girls are going to be in and out of some stay away camps. We're going to have Jackson for a big chunk of this, obviously every day for this. And we're going to take a couple little vacations, but a lot of it is going to be really just focused on the vision and the future. So it's not like I'm going to be sitting there on the beach just drinking Mai Tais. A lot of this is going to be focused on the vision for Salt Strong, this theme park, and then really family, and then God. That's another really important piece for me. It's just my walk with God. And it's tough to do that sometimes when you're just constantly busy and constantly moving and not really taking time to recharge. And I'm sure many of you can relate with that, right? I'd be willing to bet most of us, after any given day or week, we're like, where did the time go? And I wish I could just slow it down. I wish I could just focus on this, or I wish I could really spend some time with this. And I've said that over and over again, that, I wish I could just take some time off and do it. And it just never happens. So been planning this for many, many months. The team has known about it. Leadership team has known about it. Everyone's excited, a little anxious, etc. But as the book said, I mean, the team's never going to know how good they can be if I'm constantly there and constantly, helping manage everything. I know the times that I have been gone, like on a cruise ship, for instance. We've taken a few cruises over the years, and that is the one time that I really shut down and don't get Wi-Fi and kind of turn the phone off. And it's amazing. People really figure stuff out if you're not there to answer it, and they do the right thing, and they step up. And so I'm really, really excited to see that. I love another quote. It says, if you're never fully unplugged, you're also never in the zone. And I know, just looking back at some of the biggest breakthrough moments I had, ironically, they've been why I'm traveling, like in a car or a plane, where I'm like, essentially going on vacation or going somewhere where I don't have my phone on and I'm just thinking or I'm reading. Those are usually the 2 times where I get these big aha ideas. And so that is going to be a big part of what I do. I mean, going back to LeBron James, whether you like him or not, it's tough to argue with his success and how long he has played as an A+ caliber player. He's, I believe, broken every record in terms of total minutes. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've read. And that guy sleeps 10 hours a day. I mean, he's a lot of people probably think, oh man, he's just constantly going and constantly working out and shooting hoops. No, like, he is super relaxed and he is absolutely focused on recovery. And to the point he's sleeping 10 hours a day and many times takes naps in the middle of the day as well, just constantly letting his body recover. So he's still working out hard, obviously, but constantly letting his body recover. And that's something I've just struggled with. It's always been on the go. And, I have been better about the sleep part of it, but it's just been a constant, just go, get stuff done. And that's just it's not sustainable. And that does lead to burnout. Thankfully, I have been good about slowing down and kind of just literally getting everything off my plate during the weekends. I used to be working every single weekend, which is not healthy. And fortunately, we're at a point here and at the company, at 8 years where I can do this. And we just have an amazing team. And then finally, as I mentioned, the family and the God part, those are two areas that I want to get better in personally. I want to be able to spend more time with my family. I get to go pick up my daughters at camp for the first time. I'm embarrassed to say I've never done it, and my wife has done it every time. So I'm sitting here like, all right, well, tell me, where do I go? Where do I even pick them up? So I get to go fly out and then and pick them up in Tennessee, where they go to this camp for a little bit and spend some time traveling with them. And it's I'm really looking forward to that because that's something I've always just been too busy to do. And then with my son Jackson, he's going to be here for a little bit, without his sisters. And even tomorrow night, we're going to go. Me and my little buddy going to go to Carrabba's, just the two of us. He loves pasta, and so just going to go to Carrabba's. And I'll be honest with you, guess how many times I've taken him to Carrabba's by myself? 0, right? And he's 6 years old and about to be 7 here. And so these are just the little things that are important to me. Get to go on a little trip to Costa Rica with my wife during this time. And we're going to go to the beach and do a little surf fishing and just relaxing. And once again, stuff I haven't really been able to do because just always been busy working on the business and on the God part. I think as much as God is important to me, and as much as I even do these unchurched and talk about it, there's a lot of days where I know I want to spend more time in prayer and in meditation and even just writing to God. I'm pretty consistent at it, but a lot of those days get cut short because there's just all this other stuff on my plate. So now that I remove all the stuff from my plate, I'm not going to be checking emails. There's not going to be anything that's going to distract me. I'm going to be able to focus on my body more in terms of working out, my prayer time, and honestly just relaxing and sitting on the dock and reading and just taking it all in. And it'll be a whole lot more prayer. It'll be a whole lot more just asking God for vision with Salt Strong and with my family, and of course with this fishing theme park. And regardless of where you are in life, obviously everybody is different. Not very few of us are running a company in terms of just the percentage of Americans out there who are probably listening to this. But regardless of where you are, even if you've just started your first job, don't be afraid to put some free time or some recharge time into your schedule. In now even going through this, I mean, I'm encouraging our employees to do that more. We got some of our employees and I don't blame them because I was the same way when I was young. It's just like, oh man, go 100 miles an hour. And that is good. But I do remember the time when I hit a wall and got burnt out. And looking back as an employee, and that was my first job, I was just so gung ho on being an A player and never giving up and just full charge, full steam ahead. I never took vacations. I didn't even take like sick days. I remember that the one day I was literally puking in the bathroom and just refused to go home. I didn't tell anyone. I just wanted to keep going. It was almost like I was proving that I could do this, that I was an amazing team player, et cetera. And there's times where you need to just take it easy and relax and recharge, read a book, focus on the future, and stop working on all the day-to-day small little activities that may or may not even have any impact into the future. There's so many little small things that we do that don't really move the needle. And Tim Ferriss was probably one of the best at that. He's the guy that wrote the 4-Hour Work Week. And he's really one of the best in terms of just what I've read and listened to his podcast of knowing where he wants to go. That's obviously critical. We've spent multiple podcasts talking about that, the mission and the purpose of knowing where you want to be a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. And then he'll sit there sometimes for 5-6 hours instead of just starting to do a bunch of small stuff to get there. He'll spend a lot more time, hours, literally, just thinking about what are the smallest amount of battles that I have to win to hit that goal to be where I want to be. And then he'll just focus on those big things instead of all the small little to-dos that most of us get caught up in on a day-to-day basis. So I'm really excited to do that. I'll be honest, a little bit anxious. Just of the unknown and, what happens if, people make big mistakes. But then again, that's the best way to learn. And the great news is we have a great company and a great culture. And one of the core beliefs internally is to fail forward, meaning to not be afraid to fail. Obviously, if you keep failing on the same thing over and over again, you might not be a fit, but to not be afraid to fail once, to learn from it. And that's why it's called fail forward, is to grow from it. And continue just to make it something that continues to empower you and make you even stronger, not to hold you back into taking 5 or 6 steps back. It's always, all right, how do we fail forward and learn from our mistakes and use it as a growing experience? So anywho, I share that with you to urge you to take a little relaxation time yourself. Start mapping it out. It's something that I have never done, and I'm going to start doing it in my calendar, is kind of having just some buffer days. I always thought it was kind of a badge of honor to have my calendar completely full and, oh, look at me. And now I'm going to at least just try to have one day a week. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to be working, but it's going to be a recharge day, right? I'm not going to feel bad if I just want to go outside and read for a couple hours and really think about the business and spend some time in prayer. It's the proof is in the pudding. I mean, this book, and there's many books just on that alone about the power of recharge. I mean, let's go back to the Bible. Jesus was never in a rush. Isn't that amazing? That Jesus even knew. I mean, he knew when the time was going to happen, where he'd be crucified, and he knew he was on essentially a pretty short calendar when it's all said and done. And we're talking just a few years, and yet he was never running from city to city, was he? You never once hear about Jesus being in this massive rush. No, he was walking. He was taking his time. He went out in the wilderness for 40 days, ironically. There is so much we can learn from Jesus and the Bible about just having patience and spending time with God, with his Father. Of spent so much time in prayer and so much time with the people that he wanted to be around, and he knew that he only had so much time, and he had to essentially train these 12 disciples there on what they would need to know and what they would need to be speaking, what they would need to be writing. Really, really fascinating when you think about that. And I know we did a whole podcast about that why Jesus was never in a rush. And that's how I want to get closer to my life. I feel like it's been the opposite, where I'm always in a rush, always trying to do stuff, and always just trying to accomplish things as fast as I can. And I'm still going to be doing that. I still like to win, and I still like to get stuff done, but I'm going to do it with a little bit different mindset and a little bit more buffer time, if you will, to just recharge. And I'm really, really excited to share everything that I learned and all the big aha ideas and even how I became close with God once I get back. So it'll be the whole month of July. I will be out, and even up into that first week of August. I'm going to be picking up Shauna in Tennessee and spending a couple days with her. And that is I think it's like the 1st or 2nd of August. And then I'll officially be back. And so like that probably that first Sunday of August will be my next podcast on Unchurched. Otherwise, you guys have an amazing July. Have a great 4th of July. Spend some great time with your family. And I would urge you to try this. Once again, regardless of where you are in life, just to spend a little bit more time recharging. Of course, if you're retired, you might already have that built in. But for a lot of us still in the working force or in just running a family, it is tough to find time to recharge. And that could mean even hiring a babysitter or a part-time nanny. I mean, we've done that personally, and it has helped our relationship out big time. And you don't have to have them full-time. It could be someone who just even once a week picks up the kids, does all the dishes, helps get dinner ready, and bathes the kids. You'd be shocked at what that can do to a relationship and a marriage, and it doesn't cost that much. And yes, there are a lot of really good people who are dying to have part-time work and maybe don't need the full-time stuff out there. You just got to go out there and ask around and find them. We found one that's great, and it's literally, I would say, changed our life, our marriage, our relationship, just from helping out with the kids more, doing things like that, like bathing them and getting dinner ready, and sometimes doing laundry. Just when our lives are in complete what feels like chaos and we're not doing a good time of recharge, that helps us out big time. So once again, I urge you to put this first, to put some free time, some relaxation time. Doesn't have to be a whole month or 40 days or anything like that, but even just start with a day, start with a few hours. It will have massive impact on your clarity and on your walk with God and on your family life, etc. So guys, I hope this was helpful. I'm going to miss a big time speaking to everyone over the next 30 days, but know that I will be thinking about you in a lot of prayer and coming back with some pretty cool insight and ideas on how this whole thing went. I will talk to you on the next episode in August.
'Cause fishing, it's in my soul, it was